This is an official Nickelodeon promotional mashup of the various toilet humor scenes from Nickelodeon's Breadwinners. So the goal is to entice viewers with the promise of more butt-centric jokes, noxious green fart clouds, and otherwise. The gross out is the entire joke and accompanying punchline. It'll get repeated with the same intense, mindless ferocity as an incompetent gamer mashing buttons on a controller. Supposedly, if the joke gets repeated enough times, it gets funnier. This approach is going for the cheap shot, or the low-hanging fruit. Humor in general is subjective though. While one person may cringe at Breadwinner's humor, another may revel in it, either ironically or genuinely. Toilet humor can work and appeal to an audience larger than just those who find farts or body humor funny by its own merits. The problem lies in the joke falling flat. There's no context or build-up to a fart or belch, it's just there. If anything, I'd like to pose the question, how does someone set up toilet humor that's clever, that gets someone who generally can't stand those kinds of jokes to laugh? Would anyone kill me for wanting to suggest Wander Over Yonder's The Party Poopers as a candidate for Mr. Enter's admirable animations? There's so many details here to poke at and analyze in regards to the idea of toilet humor executed effectively. So, the tone for The Party Poopers is set immediately with an opening shot of double full moons. There's a pan through several similar shots, and eventually, the camera settles on Wander and Sylvia standing in front of a grand palace outfitted with butt-shaped and toilet-themed decor. Paired with these visuals, though, Sylvia sets the running theme. Wander must resist the temptation to laugh, no matter how absurd the puns, visuals, and surroundings become. In some respects, Wander is an avatar for an easily entertained individual. Just mention butts and he starts snickering. So, this sets a fun challenge for writers, background artists, voice actors, and all to push the envelope as much as possible. They're encouraged to go all out with the toilet humor motif. There's obvious jokes like the aforementioned butt-shaped decor, but there's also many more subtle but clever visual gags too. The major standout is the hall filled with symbolic portraits, from a bomb dropping to fingers pinching a bread loaf. Every picture is a deliberate visual for some kind of analogy or reference to pooping. Though a follow-up is the butler rattling off the night's selection for buffet choices. Every single one is some kind of pun accompanied by a very telling and tongue-in-cheek visual from rough roast to had a butt. In between these shots, just amping up the tension of the scene, are Wander's zany reactions that he tries desperately to keep himself from busting up with laughter. A lot of his facial expressions are on par with Lord Hater's exaggerated fare, and a whole lot of nothing. That style of exaggeration fits perfectly here, further hammering and emphasizing the self-restraint part of the theme. There's implied humor that invites the viewer to add their own mental visuals with the ones on screen. For example, the Heine's heads are shaped like butts, but this is implied through dialogue and silhouettes, never directly shown. It's even further capitalized with shots focusing specifically on the butler's backside and body language. Certain tones of voice and emphatic gestures are echoed by slight butt cheek wiggles. A more obvious example is a scene where one of the Heine council blows his nose, and the camera switches to an outside shot of the palace accompanied by a long fart noise and puckered starfish flying up out of the trees. Add in the over-the-top performances on the part of the voice actors. I especially enjoyed the butler's theatrical trill and pompous, snooty tone of voice.
And don't forget to wipe your feet.
It added that much more to his character being the centerpiece and introduction to the Heinies, as well as the smug eyebrow-raised scene saying, "This is just the beginning, folks." All of these elements woven together are exactly what makes this such a fun watch, fan of toilet humor or no. Viewers can see just how much fun everyone on the cast had with how ludicrous the premise for this episode is. It's a case of picking up a ridiculous idea and rolling with it, seeing how far the jokes can stretch without resorting to in-your-face or blatant gross out.